It is the 26th of July 2024 and you're right on time for K24's Newscut. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Clement Muli. We have a lot lined up for you and these are our top stories. Police seek to detain protesters including Boniface Mwangi for 21 more days to conclude investigations. Kenyans hold citizen assembly in Nairobi to discuss police brutality and the disregard of human rights. President William Ruto continues with his tour in Mombasa as he launches projects in the coastal region. Talk to us via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Church, as well on our SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. We begin. Police are now seeking to detain activist Boniface Mwangi and 4 others. That is after they were arrested yesterday while taking part in the peaceful demonstrations. According to documents seen by K24 TV, the 5 are accused of false publication contrary to Section 22 and Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. As well, taking place, of course, or taking part in unlawful assembly, contrary to Section 78 and 79 of the Penal Code, and creating a disturbance in a manner likely to cause a breach of peace. The 5 were arrested on Thursday while leading dozens of protesters marching to demand justice for those killed during the protest. And now we're joined live by Ian Kitani from Ilimani Locals with an update. Actually, we are crossing over where Babu Owino is addressing the press. He's the Embakasi East Member of Parliament.
And the CI has decided to make a miscellaneous application that the 5 respondents be further detained for a period of 21 days, of which is very unconstitutional in nature, because the fact that these 5 accused persons were arrested yesterday, the DCI should not arrest and investigate. The DCI should investigate first and then make arrest. So therefore, this amounts to miscarriage of justice on the person of our accused persons. This alone amounts to fishing expedition, that these people want to be detained unlawfully because there is no clear explanation on why they should be detained for a period of 21 days. We have serious criminal cases that are always subjected to bail. Every accused person in this country has a right to bail unless there are compelling reasons. There are no serious compelling reasons, because when we look at the accused persons that we have here, to be specific, the first one being Boniface Mwangi, everybody in the Republic of Kenya knows where Boniface Mwangi stays, therefore he is not a flight risk. Number 2, Boniface Mwangi can never interfere with any witness, and these witnesses, I know they will bring police officers to be the witnesses. And even if there is that interference with the witness, then there is witness protection that should take care of that. And in addition to that, we clearly know the intention of the government is to ensure that they subject the accused persons to a lot of pain and agony. They want to antagonize the judicial process by delaying justice on the above accused persons. Number 1, Robert Otieno. Number 2, Albert Wambugu. Number 3, Pablo Chacha. Number 4, Boniface Mwangi. Number 5, Erot Franco. And when it comes to Erot Franco, this is a person who lost his brother during the mandamanos, during the demonstrations, and his father lost a parent, a mother, awaiting burial. So how inhuman can the police be to detain a person unlawfully in custody, and once a further 21 days, a person who is supposed to go and bury a mom, a parent? This is really saddening, and I ask members of the public to still come out and fight for the rights of these accused persons. I would like to state just that note, unless you have any question. No question?
Well, that's Dr. Babu Wino, Embakasi East Member of Parliament, who also declared himself as the chief opposition leader, addressing from Milimani, where Boniface Mwangi and 4 others will be awaiting to know their fate after the prosecution requested for 21 days to detain them. Meanwhile, the citizens of Kenya are currently holding a People's Baraza dubbed the Citizens Assembly, addressing pertinent issues, especially police brutality during demonstrations. We cross over to the Catholic University for an update where actually our reporter David Kagina is right now. However, we are just going to listen into the proceedings.
All this is a build-up of decades, almost a century, right?
Yeah. Kinuthia, you're an actor, and hakuna mali utaenda kwa hii dunia ukose kuona msee ana watch film. And in music also, yani, film is such a serious element.
Yeah.
Remember in Kenya, growing up, we would often make fun of Nigerians and how they shoot their films. And we definitely say, oh, bad quality, oh, story sound is a specific thing that's happening. But right now, Nigerians, they can tell their stories through films. I would like to just, I'd like you to help us shed some light and why it's important to also just tell our stories through films. And with the emergence of technology, we have reels, we have stories, and such platforms where we can share our struggle and revolution in motion. Kindly talk to us about why it's also important to use film, theater, and music to capture these moments in time.
Thank you so much. We like to think of the Social Justice Center Traveling Theater as films in the streets, films at your doorstep. And why we came up with the idea of the Social Justice Center's Traveling Theater was because our generation is a generation that has been disengaged a little bit from reading a lot. We, like the president of the Law Society of Kenya said, you'll find people more on their phones than they are on socializing physically. And the Social Justice Center's Traveling Theater ideally does street storms. We say a market that you like. We think about issues that affect that particular community. For example, in my community, Mathare, extrajudicial killings have been a huge problem. And dialogues like this sometimes work, but not always. And it's impossible to maintain consistently on a daily basis dialogues that make people understand means in which that they can liberate themselves. And within the Social Justice Center's Traveling Theater, it's a composition of young people drawn from different communities within Nairobi. And the idea is to show people the injustice that they go through and to think of ways with them through participation, ways in which that they can liberate themselves. For example, we've had issues of arbitrary arrests, and as human rights defenders, it becomes so difficult to respond to every case of arbitrary arrest. So when we go to these markets, when we go to churches, we demonstrate to them, when you're arrested, what do you do? Call somebody, talk to the police, and let them know that you have your rights, as enshrined under Article 49 of the Constitution of Kenya. Call a person who can come and follow up. When you go to the police station, ensure that you're booked on the OB. So when we do this, through ACT, people get to understand, people get to relate.
Through the piece, it's also through the follow-up, yes. Either meetings or maybe your submissions or maybe even petitions soon after, right?
Yes, yes.
So Yanni, would you like to talk to us a little bit about, especially your 2 new songs, eh?
Yeah.
They're actually off what you often write about.
Our very own David Kagina will update us later on in a subsequent bulletins on the events at the Catholic University. Still on the same breath, Mombasa Governor Abdulswamad that is Abdusamad Nasir, has called on President William Ruto to adhere to his commitment to compensate victims of police brutality while emphasizing on the need for police reforms. Speaking at an event to issue funding to county beach management units operating at the ASK showground, the governor insisted that he remains a bona fide member of the Orange Democratic Movement and that the party remains independent.
Excellency, mimi nimekusikia na nimemsikia party leader wangu Raila Amolo Odinga akilizungumza hili. Ni lazima wale waloweza kuumia katika msukamano wa maandamano wawe compensated. Wale waloweza kuuliwa na kuumizwa katika maandamano wawe compensated. Ni lazima, Your Excellency, wale polisi walofanya wao ni kichwa kigumu wakawanyima haki za watu wachukuliwa hatua zile ambazo kwamba zinahitajika. As we speak, development cannot move without movement of politics. Hawa watu wote, Your Excellency, tunaomba zile kesi za wale walikuwa wameshikwa kiholela kwa sababu wanaandamana. Be true to your word, and I know that you will do it. Drop those cases za wale ambao kwamba walioko pale.
President William Ruto is currently in Mombasa for a 4-day development tour. The head of state arrived in the coastal region on Thursday, and today President Ruto presided over the distribution of funds for fishing groups at the Mombasa showground before heading to Watamu, Kilifi North constituency, where he's expected to address the issue of power connectivity to ensure that every household gets access to power.
Niwaulize viongozi wa Kenya, sasa ni wakati mwafaka wa kuungana, kufanya kazi pamoja, kuwaunganisha wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Ndio sababu mimi juzi nimeunda serikali ya kuunganisha Wakenya. Nikasema Wakenya wote waungane ndani ya serikali ya taifa letu la Kenya, tuweze kushughulika na mambo ya maendeleo, tuweze kupanga vile ajira tutapata kwa hawa vijana, vile tutapanua biashara, vile tutaendesha kilimo na uvuvi, tuweze kubadilisha taifa letu la Kenya. Na wauliza nyinyi watu wa Mombasa na Pwani, mnakubaliana na mimi tuunde serikali ya kuunganisha Wakenya wote? Hebu nione wala wanasema tunakubali. Ni sawa hiyo? Mumempatia ruhusa Ali Hassan Joho afanye kazi na mimi kama waziri wa taifa letu la Kenya. Mumenipatia Salim Mvurya asimamie mambo ya biashara na investment katika taifa letu la Kenya. Hawa wangwana wawili kutoka Pwani, mimi niko na imani kwao.
Tunaweza kuwa na tofauti za kisiasa, na wala tofauti zetu za kisiasa sioni zikiisha leo, lakini tusiwe na tofauti za watu. Tuweni na tofauti ya mwelekeo, lakini tusiwe na tofauti ya pale ambapo kwamba tunaelekea. Hii leo umemchagua ndugu Hassan Ali Joho. Mimi nina imani ya kwa wengi hapa ni wenye kukubali ya kwa Hassan Ali Joho is fit for this docket.
Mheshimiwa Rais, nataka nikushukuru sana kwa sababu umekuwa msikivu sana. Umewasikiza wananchi wa Kenya vizuri kwa umakini, ukajaribu kuyaelewa malengo yao, na hatimaye ukafanya uamuzi wa kuweza kuunda serikali ya umoja wa taifa la Kenya.
Away from that, the International Labour Organization has called for establishment of child labour committees in counties to help protect right of children and to fight out the increase of child labour, especially in counties and the country. According to the ILO Deputy Director for Africa, Kofi Agosu, there are over 160 million cases of child labour across the continent, with Africa recording 72 million child labor cases. Speaking in Mombasa during a meeting with Mombasa County official, Agosu has also called for formation of policies and funding to promote the fight against child labor in counties and the country at large.
60 million children are in child labor. And from that number, 72 million African children are in child labor. 85% of this number are working in agricultural sector. And 38.5 million of these children are in hazardous situation. They are working in hazardous situation. We invite the governor and his team to implement this call on action to eliminate child labor. In order to do that, they need to establish a committee on elimination of child labor and provide budget line so that the committee is also operational.
Key is sensitizations. We'll do quite a number of sensitization at the headquarters as well as grassroots level, whereby we want our sub-county administration to be able to understand the responsibilities of government towards eliminating forced labor and child labor, as well as our enforcement teams to be able to be vigilant towards this and eliminate child labor.
1:15 p.m. time to take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.